welcome to Settled on the Field. How's everybody doing today?
Doing good.
Like I said earlier, the moon has been extra this summer. We had a strawberry moon, a blue moon, a lunar moon, and also I heard that the northern lights were back. So I evidently need to move like 2 hours north because I keep missing out. But maybe you would see them at your lake house still.
It's called moving back home, Liz.
Moving home in the South Bend region. It's wonderful. Nice.
The moon's getting some NIL deals from somebody, man. It's working extra.
1,000 NIL deals for $5.99. Shine bright. You'll get paid.
So last time we talked NIL, and we talked about what we don't know. But it turned out I think we knew kind of a lot. We knew a lot. Most of what we said was basically true. We had questions, and I wrote down our questions, and let me just go back to some of our questions. Can you put stipulations on NIL money?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Basically. If I sign with Adidas, I can't also sign with Nike, things like that. How much? Oh no, I still don't have the answer to how much it would take to get all the great golfers to one school. We're working on that.
It got to be a hypothetical question because it would depend. It depends on how many, first of all, you're really talking about. What school? You're not going to get them all to go to Montana State. You'll get them all to go to Pepperdine, you know what I'm saying, a little bit easier. So it depends.
Oh, the next one was, is there any, we already knew this too, is there a cap to NIL? No, there's not. So, I mean, we knew. The next question that I think that we're all asking is, where does NCAA even stand in this? Like, what is their value anymore?
Which in the latest couple of days it sounds like it's not going to work. The judge said to the NCAA, go back and relook at this. It must be NIL related and business related. And that's what they want it to be. But the players don't care. That Players Association, whatever the four other people who are suing the NCAA, they don't want it to have to be that. They want it to be, I scored a touchdown, give me $1,000.
And you're saying the judge agrees with the players.
The judge basically agrees with capitalism and says they're earning money, let's pay them. And so they're back to square one, and that means there's no settlement, and there's no deal, and there's no agreement. And so we're at the wild, wild west again.
So it says
collective is held to lunch.
It says like the collectives that collect a bunch of money for a school can pay athletes, but for the athlete to remain NCAA eligible, they must prove they completed a deliverable service in return for the payment. This can be through autographs, appearances at events for donors, appearances in commercials, or participation in content that the collective may distribute privately or publicly. So, I mean, they can walk down the street and say hi to 10 people and get paid whatever the collective decides to pay them.
Hard, pretend you were there. Good job scoring a touchdown, son. Here's your envelope. Like, how could they prove that you didn't go walk down and go, hi, I fulfilled my duties?
Right, exactly. And now, did you see Tennessee's adding 10% fee to their season tickets?
Oh, so and that all goes to the players?
Pass the NIL on to the consumer.
Yeah.
Airing, which is not exactly what that is, but that's okay. Because then the more ways they coming up with money, then the more lawsuits there will have to be to make it stop.
So you can't stop it. Right? Like,
I don't think they want to stop it. So, they don't want to stop it. They just want to have it be organized under the guise of education-based sports, which it's not. So they should just let it go and become the NILCAA and, and provide some sort of guidelines to this new professional league.
Yeah.
If the NFL can have guidelines, then we can have guidelines in college sports. there's guidelines and everything else. And then somehow college sports just have, it's just a wild, wild west.
Let me
It
tell you
doesn't
this
make
new
sense.
phenomenon that I feel like is going on in the whole world. Yeah, I see it in every aspect. Is there's not a lot of doing. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of I have a concept for a plan. There's a lot of I'm not just gonna do it. And people and entities like the NCAA and places where you work, they want the perfect solution and they want it now. But the perfect solution takes time. And so they put in all this work and they pay people to figure it out. But no one's doing the patchwork. Like, you figure it out, make it perfect by next August. But what's the plan today for the next 11 months? It could be the 18% solution. It could probably be the 95% solution. Everybody's wanting perfect. Just give us a plan and say you have to follow this. It shouldn't be that hard.
There's just no consequences. Like, you're going to tell one guy that he can't play, and then the next guy's going to be like, that's not going to deter him because he's getting paid way more money than the person that's putting out the consequences.
The purpose of the NCAA is to say that they're who can and cannot play, or are they just organizing the sports so we can all play? Like what?
Well, I think both. They organize the sport and then they declare who's eligible to play in that sport.
And they're salty because they're losing out on all this money.
Here's a question we haven't brought up. Have they dropped or have they stopped doing any like academic ineligibility?
Academic eligibility?
Yeah, 18 million for throwing the ball, and I had all Fs. Does the NCAA like they're ineligible? Are they not? I mean, I'm sure they could get through 1 year and then drafted to the NFL, but they won't be able to transfer. They won't be able to do all those things, play again at the same school. So they still have that role. Pass your class, enroll in at least, I don't know, 6 credits, whatever it is. Be a student. So it's like they have a purpose.
I would like to know how many credits they need to be enrolled in.
Time.
I think so too, but
so it seems like really the only thing as far as NIL they're trying to stop is using NIL as a recruitment tool. So they're basically saying if you come here, we'll give you $8 million. They're saying we can't do that.
You can't promise them a dollar amount, which seems to be the crux of the problem, right? Because how can you recruit a kid if this other place it is off the table saying you get 8 million, but I can't do that. I'm following the rules. You might get 5, you might get 10. I don't know.
So it seems like you got to just get rid of that because the kids are get the money, so they should be able to go where they're getting the most money, and it should be in the open.
If I apply for a job, I could apply to 3 and take the highest paying one.
Exactly. Like, why would you stop them from that? Then the next thing is they're making so much money, there's no reason to go pro. I heard when they were talking
until
about
you graduated, of course, then there's a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
But like
they just can only play as many eligible years as there is, and then they have no choice, basically.
And Caleb Williams, they said he's always been the greatest athlete on the field of every game he's ever played in until 2 Sundays ago when he went to the NFL. And now every single person on the field was just as good of an athlete.
Right.
So there's no incentive to break the rule and get kicked out of college because you're still going to have that chance to be one of the top superior players in all of, right? So the NCAA has that, dispersal of talent. And then why not just allow the collectives or whoever's paying them to just offer them the money? Somebody's willing to pay it.
There's the other side of the coin, which is the NCAA should be involved in competitive advantage. So why should Oregon and Nike be able to offer someone $100 million to be the third string tackle who never plays, and everyone's getting endless money, and every 5-star recruit goes there? That would never happen, but in theory, everyone's going there. they've got the stacked roster. They'll never, ever lose, which is also BS because we've seen this in baseball with the Boston Red Sox and the Yankees. But they've got everybody. They're paying them tons of money. It's a competitive advantage. That's why they talked about a cap. So sides agreed to a cap, which was weird to me because it was based on a percentage of the TV money. And they said, like, okay, you got to pretty much at what the average is. We're looking at it, 22 million. To be, I'm sure, with different every year. But you got 22 million for on average for every single school, and that's the cap. You're still going to have problems because some teams are going to be at 22 million after like 3 players because they got the top 3 players, that some teams won't be able to spend that money. So they'll be at like 15 million. And what do they do with that extra 7? Do they get to spend it next year? Do they get to, who knows? We need a ruling, Jeb.
I mean, my ruling is you can't cap them because, again, the whole reason, okay, so I'm super popular. Everybody wants to buy my jersey, right? Like, I have to pay taxes when you buy my jersey. So I make money, I have to pay taxes, right? Until I get in the next tax bracket, you can't stop me from making more money. I get charged more taxes, right? But if I make so much money that people are still willing to buy my name, image, and likeness, you can't stop that. That's like, just like a pro player, right? He's worth as much as any team will play him, plus all his sponsorship.
I
So
think
then you say,
you're spelling out kind of both sides of the equation. The whole, if it's under the name, image, and likeness, literally somebody bought 90 million jerseys for $1 and Jeb makes $90 million. I don't think anyone's arguing that. Both sides are okay with the name, image, and likeness. What they're not okay with is if it's outside of that, then you should just be limited to what the school is allowed to give you because we got that. Oh, we're going to throw another curveball. We're going to make it. We also have to bring in Title IX and make it even for men's and women's, which good luck figuring that part out.
okay,
Hold
so
on.
you're saying the school's going to be capped at what they pay him, but the player can still use his own stuff to go out and get above and beyond that.
Right. That was the plan.
Original
That's
plan
fine.
was you only get it from a jersey or a Bill Cooper, the super duper pooper scooper sells his.
Well, no, because they said each school they were starting with like 21 million, and then each year it was going to go up.
The lawsuit, yes, going forward.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
original thing was just name, image, likeness, and none of this.
I thought you were talking about. I'm sorry. Okay, yes, the lawsuit that they had somewhat agreed upon that's now in the tank. That's what it was. And that to me seems like it makes sense. So I don't understand why it seems like the NCAA is the one that's throwing out they can't make this extra money. And why not? Because they don't get a cut of it, I think. Is that what it is?
The cut to the players is like super low anyway. That 22 million was like based on like a 10 or 20% of the overall what they're getting from TV. So like the schools were going to get away like bandits and just give a little bit to the players, and it would seem like a lot. It would be a lot to all the people who aren't the superstar, but the superstar would still get hosed unless they went above and beyond with some name, image, likeness, Dr. Pepper deal. Layered. Then when you talk about the 22 million per school, it was also supposed to be 11 for men and 11 for women, and I don't know how you can make that work. So that's why it's going to fall apart. Let's just predict the future here. Those 4 court cases that became one is not going to work out. And so the question is to you two is, will there be another one that combines, I don't know, those 4 cases and 2 more into something that works? Or will we just be the Wild West from here on out and the NCAA has to start from square zero, figure out their role in life?
I think NCAA just has to make sure you're academically eligible. They need to make sure you are playing by the sports rules and make the sports and championships work out. And then they make money on that. The schools and the players can make money however they make money. And then you're talking, like you said, about Oregon. Nike can just pay for championships.
I feel like until we see that, then we shouldn't worry about it. Because
Well, we
look
know
at
it's
Colorado. What is Colorado doing? They're paying a bunch of people to come show up and be like brash and awesome, and yet their team sucks. Because
Right.
that's not how it works in the real life. You have to have a team that works together, that knows each other and has each other's backs, and not go, I hate this kid because he's making $29 million and he sucks and he's a jerk. So
That's
like
in
it doesn't
football.
work. It's never going to work.
And that's what's happening.
But that's
Right.
football. Football takes a team. You need offense, defense.
That's what I'm saying.
But almost every other sport, it doesn't completely require.
Right now, it's a Ball State day. It's Maction. What we're gonna see is a small school. We're gonna see the Hoosiers either this year or next year in the 12-team tournament. The team that has a bunch of seniors who stuck together and they plow over all these overpaid
Northern
Okie
Illinois.
dokie.
Hello.
Northern Illinois when through Notre Dame. And when we see it, that's when it'll change. That's when they'll get together and all the rich people from Georgia and Texas will go, we can't have Northern Illinois winning. We need to figure this out. Bam.
Yeah.
And
The
then it's
little
going to go
guy-
back. They're going to say,
little guy
we're not
is
going to
cool.
pay you. We just want you to stay together. Or, I mean, it should be something like that. Stay together for 4 years, and then we give you this huge pot at the end of your 4 years. If you would actually just stay here, you make more.
No, yeah. No, if
You know,
there would
I'll
there
give you
could
this
be
for this year, but I'm going to give you this much for all 4 years.
us like tomorrow. They could be like, you get wasn't it I don't know, somebody said they're not paying anybody anything. I can't remember who it was. Anyways, you could say, you're not coming in as a 5-star recruit getting $5 million for your doc. If you get a Dr. Pepper deal, good job. It's your name, but you're not getting it from the collective. And then you're starting and you've proved, now we'll give you the big bucks. I feel like if somebody implemented that payout process, it might be the better way to go as far as for the schools.
Okay, so Notre Dame has the richest alumni in the world, probably Harvard, whatever. But so you just come in, Notre Dame gets $22 million, just like everybody else, for all their student athletes. Right? I'm
Okay.
sure somebody at Notre Dame owns oil company and can give 12 dudes an extra $1 million. You're not changing anything by tapping it at the institution level, and they can still make it on their own. You're just telling the institution, okay, you don't have to pay so much. We'll save you some recruiting money. Like, you don't have to go find this money to pay them. We're going to cap it at 22 million. You only can spend 22 million. Now you only need to raise 22 million. So it's just making it easier on the university, whose endowment is whatever. They can cover 22 million every year for sports. That's no problem. But the alumni is going to be like, I want to win the championship
This year.
Yes,
I want to win now.
and I
Notre
want to
Dame-
win every sport.
Notre Dame had their inauguration of their new president, and they also announced, and I'm going to get it wrong, so you'll have to look it up, peeps. Something about there will be no more loans. Like just apply. When you get approved, you're in. There's no loan. Either you can pay for it or you can't. But they didn't really say we're covering you. They just said it's covered, and I don't know what that means.
So if I get into Notre Dame, I don't have to pay for it. It's just covered.
What they said was, we're not going to look at Liz's application that says she needs 97% loan and Jeb only needs 15%. So we're going to let Jeb in. So like if Liz, you're poor and you need all that money because you need a loan, we're not taking that into consideration of accepting you. So
Okay, that's
you might still
how it
need a
should
loan.
be.
You might still need a loan and you might still take one out, but you're in already. You've been accepted. So they can't like kick you out because, oh, I need 100% of my loans. I can't afford this nonsense.
Well, I mean, that is how it should be. Jesus. Okay, like I mean,
You definitely shouldn't be not accepted
should
because you have to get the money for it. Like if you're smart
right? They
enough to
shouldn't
get,
just assume you
they should
can't
be
get
able to
it.
figure out how to support you. But
But okay,
This
if
is
you're
a
not smart
financial
enough to get
discussion
in,
right here.
then you should go somewhere else.
right.
I just can't understand why there would ever be any thought of a limit, because there's never going to be a limit. Just like when it was beforehand, you can't pay players. Okay, well, here's your $500 handshake. You just got paid. Like
Right.
everybody knows they were getting paid.
I just think it can't. There should be if the school is going to be paying them, then there should be a limit from the school. It's the NIL that where they can make all that extra. But if it's a limit, it should be like if I go to Georgia or Notre Dame or Indiana State, I get the same amount no matter where I go. And then the
think
NIL.
that question is like you guys just said, the NIL portion and the school, but the collective. The collective is where you could see some cheating happen or some unfair practices or some competitive advantage. Like, okay,
Of course, there's going to be more at different schools.
Taylor University doesn't have a collective, then they're behind the curve already. So like that's where it's monstrously different. Texas A&M has a huge like there was a big finger pointing thing between Texas A&M and Alabama over hey, they're gonna bring in all these people and pay them. Well, yeah, because there's no rules. Why wouldn't I? I'm gonna try. You can't hate somebody for trying. There's also a
right now,
lawsuit from Michigan players from like the early 2000s saying, well, you never paid me. This is that revisionist history thought process. You didn't pay me. Where's my money?
yeah.
2005. We were an awesome team. Whatever the year was, we made the school all this money. Where's our money? Fair argument.
Very fair. Very fair.
Brent, what was the receiver that went to the Browns?
Braylon Edwards.
Lawsuit. Give me my money.
Well, so like at what point, how far back? Because the lawsuit currently goes back to like 2010 or something, and all those players were going to get paid. What? Yeah, what is preventing Bill Cooper, from going on there and saying?
That was before 2010, boy.
Well, I'm saying, what is preventing the Ball State 1997 team from being like, I know you made some money off of this football team. What the hell? Give us some money. We want $1,000 each.
I was on the football game, college football, 1999.
Now, maybe you could sue EA Sports or whoever made it back in 1999.
Came out with this new game that they made the guys like sign a thing to get their payout, like $500 or $1,000.
Yeah.
This saying that they got money to be on this game?
At least the game, they're like, we're gonna get ahead of this, and instead of you suing us, if you want to be in the game, you're in the game. You're number 39. You'll be on there. You want $500 or not? Yep. And if someone said no, like Arch Manning did, they probably made him number X. I don't know.
Yeah, they just didn't put him in the game.
Yeah. You're on the bench. You didn't exist.
He's on the bench. Yeah, if you don't want us to use your name, then we won't. Now you can't sue us. 6 years from now or 20 years from now.
I would love to see a contract that somebody has with big money for their NIL, because what if they leave the school? Like, how does
that's what I'm saying? Like, if I sign with some car dealership that's only in West Lafayette, that's not doing me a lot of good. So it must be year to year. I mean,
it's got to be year to year. I mean, but you're right. That'd be interesting to see. Have a lawyer break down like the best contract out there is this one.
Yeah.
But then what if legalese that hey, I'm stuck. You could transfer, then you don't get the money. You could transfer and you can't sign with another car dealership. There's all kinds of things that could be in there.
Yeah, I'm sure you have to have a lawyer when you're signing that.
Just yesterday, September 16th on the dial, you had to pay your estimated taxes. Good luck figuring that out if you're a college kid. I'm pretty sure that the teams all had that done for them, but that's got to be a cluster. And what is the government doing with all this? Let's just say it's $100 million in NIL and you get 25%, you got $25 million extra dollars. What are they doing with it? Are they putting it back into education?
Good question.
Losing it? Oh, nobody tracked that. Nobody knew it was coming, or just went in one ear and out the other.
Basically, it's like
All day.
Go for it.
he wants to audit the NIL money that's going to the government.
So
My
this
bigger
dude got,
question.
go
Huh?
ahead.
No,
Go
you
ahead.
go.
This guy, Diego Pavia, for, looks like he's at Vanderbilt, $435K from Raising Canes. Sam Leavitt,
What position is that guy?
he's a quarterback.
Anybody other than a quarterback getting money, I have real questions as to if they didn't have a all-star year last year. I'm sorry.
Well,
the guy wants
I
you
mean-
to make money, but you got to produce on the field to be being paid for producing on the field. Like,
Well, the other thing that's weird is if you look at like 247 Sports or On3 Sports, and you can see the recruits that are going, and
That's
they
what I'm
say
looking at.
approximately what they're worth, and then there'll be freshmen, like guys that are still in high school, and it'll say they're worth about 300,000. It's like, how can we be saying that about a dude that is still in high school?
Sam
How can
Leavitt,
we estimate?
quarterback, Arizona State, cold beers and cheeseburgers is his client.
burgers. Like, that's a restaurant, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. CJ Fight, he's Arizona State as well. Portgrinds.com. Miller Moss, quarterback at USC. It says USC quarterback Miller Moss releases Miller Time NIL apparel.
Name, image, likeness. They tricky with the name.
Miller
Ooh,
Time.
Miller Time.
Which actually, I thought they had rules against like alcohol and tobacco and all that too.
Rules against binding with marijuana companies.
Well, that is at least good because I guess at this point
Every
it's
state.
different in every. Yeah.
It's nuts, man. But dude, I pay him. Let's go.
I mean, I agree, pay them. Why not? But at the same time, yes, a lot of these kids haven't done a darn thing. We've had 2 games, 3 games. Some of them, they're injured. They haven't
top
even
10.
played.
Let's go to the top 10 rankings. This is the AP top 25. Texas is at number 1 at 3-0. We know they got Arch Manning. He's making a lot of money. They're going to be good.
He played really well in that game the other day.
That's fine.
He finally got to play. I'm excited to watch him play.
A rough game. They didn't lose Notre Dame. They didn't lose to Northern Illinois. You got Ohio State at 2-0. To go quickly, Alabama 3-0, Mississippi 3-0, Tennessee is 3-0. Their quarterback is doing things I've never seen before. I'm scared of Tennessee if I'm anyone. And then I'm going to go all the way down until we find the first team with 1 loss. First team with 1 loss is 16, LSU 2-1, Notre Dame at 17 2-1, Michigan 2-1.
Who did Michigan lose to? I'll look it up.
In Illinois, we know that one.
Michigan
Northern Illinois is still ranked below
Texas.
Notre
Oh,
Dame
that's Texas. That's right.
at 23, 2-0.
We got a lot.
Man, these
Brand new year.
are crazy. They don't even have that many followers sometimes. I mean, I think Settled on the Field has as many followers as this guy.
Understand?
Maybe we could give him an NIL deal.
Some of the risk to put that money.
$5.99.
Jeb, you talking about cheeseburgers and beers or whatever. Like, I don't even know what that company is. I'm sure the revenue is not more than, maybe they blew up out in that particular location. Who knows? But like, why do they have $400,000 to give to a kid? I don't like. What about the guy flipping burgers? How about give him a raise? Give him a $5 raise an hour if you're going to do more money.
Yeah, no
Like,
kidding.
almost none of this makes financial sense from just the investment side. Like, unless you just want to sit there and be happy. Yeah, Texas. Woo!
Unless you have got an NIL deal with the chick that has 13 million followers or one of these top players that has over millions in followers. how is this working out in the long run?
So that'll be a good study in about 5 years when it's all
And maybe in 5 years it will go away because half of these companies are going to be like, this didn't pan out. He doesn't have my name on his back of his jersey. He doesn't have my company name on his sleeve.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to do it. So what all he's doing is like maybe occasionally reposting my post on Instagram or something. I don't know. I mean, it might turn out to be a big bust, to be honest, for some of these companies.
Arizona's got some people that just got deals. It doesn't say how much, but University of Arizona Campus Store is the one that they have a deal with.
Or high five someone, and then they've satisfied their duty, and then they can have Kruper on the back of one T-shirt and sell keychains, and then the collective can spot them $1 million.
Yeah, I love it.
Let's go to the what you want to see. This if it was performance based on the field, like I've heard before for pros, which will never happen because they've got the Players Association. But like, if it was literally like you run the ball for 10 yards, you get $1. You score a touchdown, you get $100. You win the Big Ten, you get $1,000. You are in the playoffs, you get $50,000. Win the national championship, every player gets $2 million. Like that, I don't think could be argued by anybody. And of course, you'd have to factor in some blocking and some tackles and all that for defense. But you're talking about $5 million for a quarterback, and the linemen aren't getting anything, dude. You're just gonna have upset people, Ole blocks come the championship game. I'm worried for health. I'm worried about mental health, physical health. This is gonna lead to problems.
Here's the other thing. We're talking about like millions of dollars. There's really not that many people making millions of dollars. So this top 10 list, after you get to 35, you're under $1 million. The top 35 people are making $1 million. Right? So the money drastically goes down, but still $500,000 is nothing to sneeze at.
No.
The top 100 people are all making over $670,000, which is a lot of money.
But so that does go to Bill's point of, so 600 people are making over 500,000, and there's 24,000 kids that play.
Right.
I mean, so yes, there does become a jealousy factor, a screw that guy factor, like he's and then do they get these big heads and then they act like they're hot shit on the team, and then maybe I'm not gonna block for that quarterback today. I mean, like I'm walking around like I had to get rid of my car because I couldn't afford the friggin' insurance, but this guy's driving around campus in his Lexus.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm blocking for him.
All of that is happening, as you just said, 100%. But like, I'm all for the superstar making money, and I'm also all for the second string guard making money who doesn't see the field because he's doing just the same damn thing in practice, and the walk-on fullback who's getting the linebacker star ready for the week. Like, if you're not paying those dudes, you're paying the quarterback $5 million, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, there's something messed up about that. I think in an ideal world, the school pays everybody the same amount, whatever that is, $50,000,
right?
Whatever it is, $20,000, whatever. They're
20
going from making nothing to $30,000 a year to play football and go to college. You're still doing pretty good,
right?
And then yes, if you can build your brand yourself and you have that ability to do that and make some NIL money, but it's that collective is really the problem, is because I hate to see there's going to become like another tier. It's like there's FCS football, there's FBS football. There already is technically like a middle tier there. There's your Oregons, your Ohio States, your Notre
You already
Dames that
said
are
the middle.
always going to be.
The middle tier is the FBS. You're about to have the BS at the top.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. That's what it is. Basically, like, how do you ever build your program to get up to the top 10 if you don't have that collective? You won't. And so that's the problem right there. The collective is the whole problem.
So I agree with you. I was wrong earlier saying that the school's getting $22 million. That will get spread over everybody. So that makes it so that those people that we talked about on the lower end get something, right? That will help.
Yeah.
So
That's in theory. That's in theory, and that was part of the lawsuit. So
Yeah.
that goes away if the lawsuit goes away.
But so
Right.
here is
But,
where it comes down. This is what I talked about with the golf team. The Friends of Wilbur and Wilma at the University of Arizona, their primary focus is on basketball, some men's track, volleyball, gymnastics, women's soccer, softball, women's track, men's golf, men's swimming, and women's swimming. So they are basically a group of people that's trying to build up the lower level sports at Arizona.
good. That's nice to hear.
And it looks like there's a bunch of those across the different collectives. The Gray Danes Lacrosse Collective at the University of Albany primarily focuses on men's lacrosse. So there are people out there.
So there are people out there that, I mean, if you imagine that you make a ton of money and your favorite sport is lacrosse, you're going to do that. Why wouldn't you?
Here's the kicker. These collectives are approved 501c3s.
So they can. I did read that they can be a for-profit or a non-profit organization, but what is that? So here we go. Maybe settle on the field, vets to ref, 501c3. We don't have any referees. We don't have anybody wanting to become referees. We're gonna take all our donated money and donate it to
the tax
the freaking Ball State golf team.
Yeah. Great idea. I'm glad we went around the horn. I'm glad we settled it on the field. I'm glad nobody knows what's going on. And I'm glad these kids are making money. But let's just come up with something. Better than nothing.
Gotta come up with something.
And I think we put it out there to the NCAA, which right down the road. But come up with something. Whether it's in the legal forum or you just come up with the plan and say, this is the NCAA's plan and put it out there. Like, if you don't, then what are you doing? Like, we just came up with 19 ideas and we talked for 28 minutes. Like, you have all day and you're getting paid to do this. Call me. I'll come down there and shoot this shite and give you ideas. Easy. Do it.
Settled on the field collectives.
Don't talk about it. Be about it.